Hello, Facebook. If someone can see this, please let me know, okay? Let's see here. Okay, let me know if you can see this. I literally just did this whole video for you guys and Facebook didn't post it. It didn't go live. So I'm back at it and we'll try to do it again and get it right this time. So let me just make sure this is all working correctly. And we'll get moving. Okay. Okay, Ivana, thank you so much. I'm glad you can see this. So now I know it's working. Okay, we'll get started. I just stated, if you didn't hear already, I actually just did 30 minutes of this call and Facebook didn't post it. So we're at it again. So we'll just get started right here. And let me get my stuff together now that I know it's working. Okay, hi. My name is Stacey Cambrell, and I've written a book on health and nutrition and chemical awareness. And it is literally my passion to teach on chemicals and how we need to become our own health advocate to give us the opportunity to make better choices. And so first, I'm going to start off, if you don't mind, with just a quick prayer. And this is from Proverbs 2:6. It says, "For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding." And I just pray that all of us can hear what's being said today with the understanding of the heart of trying to teach to help us all live as healthy as possible. And I just pray all this in Jesus' name. And I want to make sure that you know that I'm going to be speaking from what the American Cancer Society website says, the CDC, the FDA, and also WebMD. If it is my opinion on something, then I will tell you that. Otherwise, I'll just be going off the facts of what they say, because I want you to see what they're saying. And when you get into looking at the American Cancer Society's website, I mean, expect to spend a couple of days, because trying to find what you're looking for can be very difficult. They definitely have all the good information up front, but sometimes you can skirt around the back and keep digging deeper and find some more information. Some of it, I would just paste copy right onto my website because it sounds so fantastic. And then some of it does not sound so good to me. And if you can't find something that you're looking for and you want to, I always try to get stats and facts from not health or health, we call it natural health land, right? We want it from the government so people can, those who question can respect the information being given. And so sometimes you may have to Google, like let's say children and diet, or children and chemo, or stats, or whatever it is. And then that will pull up the American Cancer Society website. So I'll say like American Cancer Society, and then I'll put what my question is. And then if that topic is on the American Cancer Society's website, it will pull it up there. Okay. So just moving forward, helping you understand that, how to access this information yourself. In my book, everything is like, the facts from back in the day were from, once again, the material safety data sheets and OSHA and all the governmental regulatory agencies that we had back then. My book was written in 2008. There's been a couple additions since then, but basically the most of the information is from then, and it's still, unfortunately, but it's still relevant for today. So I'm going to read you the disclaimer, okay? So it says, it is not the intention of Stacey Cambrell of Living Balance to provide specific medical advice, but rather to share research and experience in hopes that you may better understand your health and any challenges from a more natural perspective, encouraging you to make your own healthcare decisions upon your research and in partnership with a qualified medical professional, right? Whoever that is that you choose. And let's see. Okay, let's get started. When you start school, the first day of school, you have an A plus, right? You got 100%, you don't have anything that's going on, you got an A already. And then depending on what you choose to do or not do, depends on if your grade stays the same or decreases. And so I'm saying this that you can understand is that when we are all born, it is because of what mom and dad had going on in them and their DNA, and then came together, and then what mom was exposed to and does or does not do during her pregnancy. And anything I always teach, and especially today, just in case you're new with this, there is never going to be any judgment from me on you about this. Like, I did not learn about health and nutrition until my kids were 8 and 12. I thought Diet Coke and carrots were like all good. And like, one of my favorite things was, what's that stuff called? Salisbury steak. It's like so gross now to think about it, but whatever. I grew up on banquet chicken, like all this kind of stuff. Okay. And so there is no judgment, but if you can learn how to help yourself and your family and pass it on, whatever, then that's the goal of this whole thing. Okay. So take the information I didn't know. And when I learned, I was shocked, upset, irritated. And then I came to find out it was the truth. And then it became part of me. And I wanted that change for myself and my family. So these days, it doesn't even have to be a hard change because we have so many things available for us when we start making better choices. 14 years ago, we went cold turkey and there was not a lot of choices. And I always say this as a joke, but it's true. But the only thing we knew about chia seeds is that you could have a chia pet, right? We didn't know you could even eat this stuff. So, and that's part of our regular diet, or mine at least. So take all this information in, please, and take it with the right heart intent of what I'm trying to teach. So here we go. Human life begins at conception. Obviously, the DNA from the mom and dad, because of that, you can tell the sex, the eye color, the hair, some different characteristics, definitely. Just found out my eldest son and I have like the same lips when I go like this. Just noticed that the other day, literally. So some of these things are genetic and how our body works. When you have the cells, when the cells come together, the husband and wife, the egg and the sperm, it is a cell, it divides into 2, that divides into 4, that divides into 8, and so forth, right? And 2 months after birth, and it's multiplying rapidly, obviously, right? 2 months after birth, the body has a complete set of cells, around 100 trillion cells. That is like amazing. And part of saying that is that even though we're not growing bigger and bigger and bigger now, through life, like every 4 weeks, we get a new outer layer of skin. Our body is constantly regenerating itself, okay? Some things take longer than others, but your body can regenerate the whole body, even bones. It says within 7, and it was always 7 years, but now it's 7 to 14. So whatever. Okay, 7 to 14, who cares? It's still fantastic. And even your meniscus, they say, can repair itself. So it's like, oh my gosh. So you have to understand that if you give your body what it needs, and it needs oxygen, it needs water, it needs nutrition, it needs good fats, it needs exercise, movement, right? Your body, God has intended for your body to be able to regenerate itself. And of course, unless he wants you, then it's your time to go, right? So it's exciting that we have that opportunity to regenerate ourselves with the knowledge of what we're doing that could be possibly not helping that situation and so forth. So moving down, when you realize that the cells are the fundamental building blocks of the body, okay, we're supposed to have a firm foundation and then build up. I brought my kids up on like an inverted, what do you call it, triangle, right? Or pyramid or whatever. It was like this much nutrition, and it went up like this as I started, learning about health and nutrition when they were 8 and 12. Had no idea all the prescriptions I used to take, all the crap I used to eat, all the diet soda I used to drink before children, during, after, obviously not a good situation. But we can change the outcome, Lord willing, for that situation that's in our body and repair things to whether it's 50, 80, or 100%, who cares? As long as you can improve upon something, that's a blessing. So one of the main things, I'm going to talk about 2 main things today. And then this week, every day at 2 o'clock, or perhaps 2:30, but hopefully 2 o'clock, right? I'll be teaching for hopefully just about a half an hour and sharing different things through the American Cancer Society's website. Right now, we're going to talk about stress. This topic is stressful. I'm not going to include if anyone knows me or whoever sent you this probably knows that we use certain products to help us with stress and I was pretty upset a second ago because I just did this whole live and now I didn't post anywhere, right? So that was irritating, obviously. I put some stuff on that I cannot disclose because if I include what I use personally in my life, I can't post this video per the FDA and FTC. So I have to keep things completely separated. So I'm going to be doing that. So I'm not going to be sharing with you all the things that I believe and think and do on a daily basis, but I was rubbing some stuff on, I'll tell you that much, and breathing it in a second ago. This topic is stressful enough as it is. And of course, if you have any family or friends or loved ones that have had cancer or have it currently, this is just a stressful talk, just in general. Some people have a fear of going to the doctor. Some people rather find out when the stuff hits the fan at the last minute because they're scared to figure out the in between where possibly they could have done something. So I am all for preventative testing of certain sorts, which we'll go over in another call, and becoming aware and obviously doing your best. But one of the main things, this is from WebMD, right? Emotional stress includes becoming agitated, frustrated, moody, overwhelmed, losing self-control, feeling not yourself, low self-esteem, lonely, worthless, depressed, avoid others. That's an example of an emotional symptom from stress. Physical stress is low energy, headaches, being upset. It could include diarrhea, constipation, nausea, aches, pains, chest pain, insomnia, dry mouth, difficulty swallowing. We know that if you clench your jaw, that can be a stressor thing that's going on. Cognitive symptoms of stress is constant worry, racing thoughts, forgetfulness, disorganization, inability to focus, poor judgment, being a pessimist. Behaviors of these symptoms include poor appetite, either not eating enough or eating too much, procrastination, avoiding responsibilities. Of course, alcohol, drugs, cigarettes can come into this kind of thing as well. Nail biting, fidgeting. And then we have the long-term consequences of stress. And this is where it gets into really becoming aware how this affects you with illness and disease. Is per WebMD, mental health problems, depression, anxiety, panic attacks, personality disorders, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, heart arrhythmia, heart attack, stroke, obesity, menstrual problems. Something as simple as your menstrual cycle can be affected by stress, your hair, your skin, acne, psoriasis. I have known people personally who have serious bouts of psoriasis that is stress related. And when their stress goes away, it almost instantly goes away in their body. And I've seen it personally. And if I didn't see this personally, I would have never believed it. My best friend could tell me like, that is some crazy stuff. And I believe her, but I just have a hard time believing it myself. But I've seen it where someone looked all perfect in their skin right here. And they started thinking about their stresses. And literally their psoriasis that started oozing came out on their body. And I was like watching it happen before me. Like that stress can do that. It doesn't mean it's going to do it for me. It could do that to you or something else. So all of us have different biochemistry. So different things happen to us and we all may have, whether because of previous illness, disease, or genetic dispositions, like weaknesses in certain areas and certain things like that can happen. Irritable bowel, colitis, and even cancer, diabetes have a stress response to having those illness and diseases. So you're talking about a lot of different things that on a daily basis, we need to figure out what our top stressors are, evaluate it with yourself, with your family, because stress is one of the number one underlying causes of illness and disease. And especially this last year and a half, 2 years, with all the stuff that's happened, it's like, everyone's just been flipped upside down for the most part, right? And so we have to learn, if you don't have good coping mechanisms right now, you have to learn good coping mechanisms for your stress. If you believe in it, meditate, pray on it, If you're biblical based, you got to really understand what the word says about being worried and being stressed, because you're not supposed to worry about the next day, and you really need to give it to the Lord. If you're not, do whatever you got to do, but we have to find a way to manage our stress life. And so I am a firm believer in figuring out mine. And we used to do this as a family back in the day, where Steve had to figure out our stressors, for between us and our kids, between brothers and between parents, and I remember Austin used to say, he's like, well, I don't like when you yell. And I'm like, well, that's fair. I shouldn't be yelling. I should be able to handle myself in a better way as a mom and as a parent, as a grown-up, right? I was like, if you didn't do that, I wouldn't have just yelled, but it's still not an excuse. So you have this open communication, because their feelings are real too. And as adults, sometimes we forget what it's even like to be a kid and to realize the stressors that kids have as well, right? And we want to be fair and respectful for that, not to dismiss them, but not to let them get away with it, right? With everything. So anyhow, whatever. So now we're going to come to the stats of why I'm just talking about stress. And I'm going to share my screen, and I'll be posting this later. Just 1 second, please. Okay. So, per the American Cancer Society, this is the serious deal right here. These are the stats I have to use because they're always like a year to 2 years behind. But per the American Cancer Society, estimated 1.8 million new cancer cases this last year. That's with over 600,000 deaths in the United States, not even globally, the United States. And 50,000 plus Americans are expected to die a month of cancer. This is for all ages, races, and genders. Doesn't matter if you're 2 or 90, what nationality you are, male or female. You're talking about 50,000 plus people dying per month. That is outrageous. This is why we have to share this information. This is why we have to become our own health advocate and make a choice in life. What do you really want? Are you okay with going down that road? I would have been 14 years ago, because I used to work in the medical field, and everything they said to do this, jump this hoop, go over here, whatever. I did all of it for me and for my kids, whatever was said. In retrospect, some of it didn't really make any sense. And sometimes I even did question things, but I was just like a little plankton. I was like, right. You just follow instructions, right? I'm not saying not go to your doctor. I'm not saying not counsel with them or whatever, but remember, they're there to help you and to help monitor your health. So, I believe that doctors, I'm not saying doctors are bad or anything. Obviously, we have the best emergency medical system there is today, but our preventative health is just outrageously depressing. Do you know the American Cancer Society they have over $5 million into research for cancer, and there's still not a cure, right? But how much money is being spent on prevention? I can't find anything on that. The information on their website is now fantastic. A few years ago, it was pretty outrageous what was on. They said you should never have fresh fruits and vegetables. You should only eat canned food and plenty of pasta and rice and bread and potatoes. I was like, when I read it, I almost like croaked. Okay. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I don't know how long ago, I think it's probably been like 8 years, my girlfriend that I helped her with all her young end of life care and all the material, and I go to her appointments with her and all the books they give us for recipes. I mean, it's literally got Oreos in it and whipped cream and everything. I'm just like, this is like ridiculous. This should not be American Cancer Society book on food and what you can make to enjoy during your days. Okay, sugar, even though this is my opinion, even though the American Cancer Society says that sugar has no bearing on cancer, I don't personally believe that. And so there has to be a reason for the uprise in cancers from back in the day. And I don't have that stat right here, but I'm sure I can find it and post it later. But you're talking about all the different chemicals, all the different sugars. You remember white sugar is not even sugar. It was never white. They bleached it like that. Okay, so if you have cane sugar, that's a better choice. And that has nutrients, but still organic or not, or raw or not, sugar, and too much is too much. Okay. So we have to apply common sense here. Let's go back to this. Only 5 to 10% of all cancers are a genetic defect, which means a mutation inherited from a parent. Like, oh my gosh, like when I first read that a few years ago, I was like flabbergasted. I thought for sure it's 50-50, but it's not. Only 5 to 10%. And I will show you that in a second. 90 to 95% of all cancers are direct result from lifestyle and environment for all ages, races, and genders per the American Cancer Society. Lifestyle is just a snapshot, is smoking, alcohol, poor nutrition, obesity, physical inactivity. And they say alcohol contributes to 45% of the deaths of cancer. That's scary. Like, people need, I don't do alcohol. I don't believe in it personally, but people who do drink alcohol, you really got to look at that. And I know that there's always someone who says, my grandpappy drank, 6 beers a day and chewed tobacco and did this and that. It's like, well, it's fantastic that he's still here and he's 98. Like, what a blessing. I don't know. But everyone's genetic disposition is not the same, and they cannot handle that. And then we get in this situation, we're like, oh no, now we have cancer. And no disrespect to anyone having cancer, please, because there are genetic cancers. And none of us knew. 14 years ago, I didn't know anything about this. Okay. I took birth control pills since I started my period because I had so many menstrual problems since 13 until I got married at like 24 or 25. I forgot. I don't know. But, and when you go back and look at the research, like I am like a cancer time bomb, like waiting to happen from all the birth control pills and the other things that I've done to myself unknowingly. So now I try to overcompensate the other way so that does not happen. Environment breaks down, which we'll go more into. This is just a snapshot of the sun UV rays, gamma rays, which has to do with radiation, x-rays, CAT scans, mammograms, PET scans, radon, and chemo. So we'll be going over more in detail that this week, okay? So let me go find right here. Let me see. I just want to find this genetic thing for you real quick. Here we go. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you. Only 5 to 10% of all cancers directly result from gene defect called mutations inherited by a parent. And this is about genetics and cancer, family cancer syndromes is what they call it, okay? So this is what I call from the horse's mouth, and you'll be able to research all this for yourself. When you first go to their website, they have fantastic information. You click on these links and you can go find a lot of different things. Once again, if you can't find what you're looking for, then you got to go do a Google search, type in American Cancer Society, and then what you're trying to find, and you'll find it there. Now, most of you guys have probably seen this. It's on my website down here. It says livinganointed.com. If I didn't say this already, this is my book. It's called Living Balanced. It's on health and nutrition and chemical awareness. There's so much fantastic information in here about how to change your lifestyle. And it's a simple, easy way. Okay. So this is a little cheat sheet that you can find here underneath my website, and you can print it out. I used to roll it up, put a little cute ribbon on it, and give it out for Christmas. And it's that important to me. So one thing I want to show you real quick, because most people are not aware, the word formaldehyde is not, generally speaking, going to be in all your names of your products, okay? But these other 4 names are the biggest names for formaldehyde, okay? So we have all 4 right here in blue. If you have this sheet, everything in here is bad. I just color coded it so to make it a little bit easier to understand what's what and without having to read the whole book, right? So all these different names in blue are formaldehyde. So now when we go over here to formaldehyde, it says determining if something is carcinogenic. Now, this is the part that's really irritating and frustrating, is that it's up to a company to do per the FDA, to do the research to determine if something's wrong with it and then notify the FDA. How many big companies do you think are doing that? Oh, you know what? Let's pull all our products. We're making millions, but let's pull it because maybe there's something bad there. I'm sure there's some ethical companies out there, but the majority obviously are not. And I'm going to be posting a video that I really hope you can watch because it just sums it all up. But I won't take that time right now for this. So in here it goes through and it tells you how they determine if something's cancerous or not. And this is something that everyone can read for themselves. There's group 1, which is carcinogenic to humans, probable carcinogenic to humans, possibly, and then other, right? So if I go click on this link right here, let's scroll down. So here we go. This is the group 1 names, okay? And it's going to go through some things that you probably won't know. It sure would be nice if, they put a little tab here or had a link that brought you to more information, but they don't want you to know all these things. You have to go look these up yourself. Like I was just looking up a word earlier, and it was a pesticide. Okay, so let's go find formaldehyde. So here we go with the word formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is on the American Cancer Society's website as causing cancer, as you just saw. Let's go back up for yourself. Carcinogenic to humans, guaranteed, right? And you have people that go through beauty school, and they're like, I've had so many people tell me this. It's like literally outrageous. They said, well, the formaldehyde in our beauty products is different than the formaldehyde that you get embalmed with. I'm like, no, it's not. There's not formaldehyde A, B, C, D, and this is like heavily it's in skincare, in your shampoo and your conditioner, possibly in some toothpaste, makeup, all these different things. And you have to remember that your skin is your largest organ. So this stuff is absorbing into your bloodstream every day if you put it on every day. And it's going to create a cellular change in your body. This is why you have to find products that are chemical free. And you just don't trust that either. You have to read the name for yourself. Like, I hope you feel like you can trust me. And I promise that I would never intentionally lie about any of this. But I just knew a few acquaintances that, talk that I do. They didn't really walk it. You didn't know it because they look like they did on social media. But and now they're selling other products that you can't even say chemical free. Like they're all into the chemicals. There's Russell. And so you still have to become your own health advocate and research this stuff for yourself. Okay. So back to formaldehyde. The FDA has it where it's allowed in products. But the American Cancer Society says it causes cancer. But it's not just the American Cancer Society who does the testing, it's other companies who do the testing. So it's not just like they're saying it for the heck of it. And believe me, I think there's more things that should be on this list than even here. Now we're happened to mineral oil. Let's find out what else is in here. DDT's in here, but see DDT, which we all know from back in the day, and it got banned, I think in like 1974, for bug sprays. There was DDT wallpaper. They used to spray people. There's a huge genetic effect of these chemicals on people for centuries and generation after generation. And so we're still dealing with it from people from like my mom's age, right? She was born in, well, she told me, if I told you, she'd probably be upset. But, she was born back in the day, right? And this is the stuff that they were literally spraying on people, rubbing on your belly, having wallpaper with Mickey Mouse on it. It's just sort of crazy. Here it is, mineral oil. So we all have heard of mineral oil, and you can buy it right now at the store, right? And so you want to be aware that mineral oils that some people used to drink internally if their bowels were backed up, and I used to use all the time for like the craft things I would make, mineral oil is not the best choice to be absorbing, but we still have it today in the market in many different arenas. Of course, they have in here radiation, radon, talc is another one. Talc is the name, but you can see talc on foot powders. Who would know that babies, Johnson & Johnson's talc powder that you always like puff just because it made it look cloud of smoke and it was cute and fun and whatever. You're not supposed to inhale that stuff. Well, what in the daylights are we still selling it for, number one? But number two, like, why are we breathing this stuff in? Why are we using it on babies' bottoms? If you need to, use gluten-free flour, use cornstarch, pat off their butt so it's not all wet. Do something, right? but using these products is a problem. Tamoxifen is like one of the worst drugs in my opinion, but yet this is a treatment they use for treating cancer, but yet it causes cancer. So, and that brings me to the other part. If you're taking chemo or radiation for some other reason, gosh, I have it around here somewhere, but I don't know which link it is now because I wasn't going to go over this, but I will right now. Off the top of my head, they use it for lupus, for, ectopic pregnancies, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis. They use chemo for those things, okay? These people don't even have cancer, but they're using it for those illnesses, diseases. They are guaranteed to get cancer. And the younger the person is, the greater chances of them getting cancer and dying from it are greater. I'm not sure if I said that right. But being on chemo medication for psoriasis, what is psoriasis? This goes back to your diet. It's inflammation of the body. If you get rid of the inflammation, which is very easy, you're talking about food, nutrition, water, exercise, oxygen, right? If you get rid of the sugars, the foods that are processed, if it comes from a can, a bag, or a box, we already know it's nutrient deficient and enzyme deficient because they had to do something to make it be in that process. We know that's not the best choice. So our goal is to either avoid it completely or try to lessen what you're taking in. And I'm sort of confused on a couple of things that I'm speaking because I just did this call, but now I don't know if I said it or didn't, if I already said it right now, or if I said it from before. So I'm like, but anyhow, so we're looking at some of these things you have to be aware of. Of course, we know, oh, I got to put this on here. I got to share my screen. Share screen. Let's go. So right here, gamma X-rays and gamma radiation. That I'm going to go over more tomorrow because that is a heavy topic and that involves a lot of things. Tanning beds. I had no idea that tanning beds were actually as bad as they are. They literally cause cancer. So all these tanning shops and anyone who goes to the tanning place, you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it? I would love a healthy glow tan, like white pink, who wants to be this color, right? But I'm okay with it because I don't want cancer. I don't want it. Laying out the sun, the American Cancer Society says they say to avoid the sun. I don't believe that. I do believe, however, though, if you are baking these chemicals that are toxic into your skin, that are actually warnings have been brought to the FDA's awareness that these products should be taken off the market because there's benzoin in them, which they should not be at all. That chemical was banned years ago, and yet it's still available in our everyday products, in some of our everyday products. I just met a friend not too long ago that she said she uses sunscreen every day on her face. I'm just like, you're not even in the sun. I'm like, and it's like, how do you say some of these things so it's not offensive? But it's like, that's like one of the worst things that you could do. People are afraid of sun cancer, and rightfully so if someone's had it. But how did you get it? It's not just from the sun. If you're putting toxic chemicals and formaldehyde and benzoin and other things on your skin, and then you're out purposely in the sun or you're mowing your lawn or whatever the case is, and those chemicals are baking into your largest organ, into your bloodstream, and those chemicals are changing and altering your cells and your DNA, that's a problem. You'd be better off to be in the sun. And I do get burnt if I go in the sun, and I have a great sunscreen that I can use now that doesn't have any chemicals and all this kind of stuff. But if I'm not, I always just have like this sheer thing over my bathing suit or whatever, and I have like long sleeves because my skin burns quickly. And so I'm just more sensitive to it. And so that's just what I do. And anyone can do that, and make sure you have a better choice, because if you do get burnt, then you're increasing your risk of sun cancer. So obviously you want to be careful of that. Okay. Julie Vandeker, I just looked down. Julie Vandeker said they gave me a chemo shot for ectopic pregnancy. That's what they're doing. There's got to be something else. We didn't always have chemo available. Do you know what I mean? And I know Julie does an excellent job at maintaining her health and nutrition and learning ways to reduce stress and anxiety and all those different things. So I'm thankful that she understands the whole big picture here so that she can have the opportunity to have a better choice in her health and her body, which is literally all what we're going over. Obesity is another thing that causes, they say it's on the line for cancer. I'm not a small girl. And so I understand that I'm at risk for this. Now there's many different reasons for many different things, but nevertheless, I'm still at risk just because of my previous history and then also even my current weight. So all of this is a work in progress for all of us to grow, to learn, to change. One couple of things that's on this list is pretty shocking, and I'll put these links in the comments so you can access them yourself, is wood dust and leather dust if you make leather material or jewelry or whatever. And my girlfriend, we feel pretty convinced that her passing, she was a seamstress with flannel material, not flannel, fleece. And this is why I don't use fleece today and refuse to own any fleece products. But I didn't know this at the time, but fleece is made up of plastic bottles. And so it's recycled material. So they stretch it into thin things to make into, it's a thin plastic flexible fiber. So it can make a blanket or a jacket or a hat or gloves or whatever the case is, right? But sewing that stuff, there's like little dust all in the air and all this stuff. Well, this is plastic. This is BPA. This is synthetic estrogen. So that is a problem, breathing in all that stuff. Otherwise, her lifestyle and her eating was like straight. It was like incredible. And so it was really a sad situation. But when you look at now, as more things are coming out there, because they're not actively searching, like, does this cause cancer? Does this cause cancer? It's only when enough stuff hits the fan that this comes to light, right? But wood dust and leather dust are on the American Cancer Society's website, fumes. So like, even when I'm outside, if I'm like working in the dirt and doing stuff, because there's so many different molds in there, I always wear a mask. And I've done that way before anything to do with obviously COVID, right? But if I was out in the yard, or you see people sometimes mowing the lawn or painting, all of that kind of stuff. If you're drywall dust, that's really not a good thing. Like, people should be wearing masks for these kind of things, taking care of mold issues, whatever. I think I'm probably past my 30 minutes now. The other one I had pretty good. It was only 26 minutes, but anyhow. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I hope this has benefited you in some way, shape, or form. Please, if you're joining in, go back to the beginning and listen to this disclaimer and help to understand my heart. I hope this doesn't offend anyone listening to this call, and know that this is coming from the right place with the right heart, the right intent, out of love, to help not only myself, but you and your family and friends have the opportunity to either, if you have cancer currently, that you can know what you need to do when you're in remission to make sure that you have a less chance of getting it back. And then for those of us who don't have it, that we don't get it, right? So we're all working together to move forward. Please join me tomorrow on the same page at 2:00 Eastern Standard Time. And I will be sharing this more information, different information tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a blessed night. Bye-bye.